So you guys, if I have to get up out of my sick bed to come fuss at people, and I know most of my viewers are not those kinds of people, but I feel like I need to say this. Leave Gramsci alone. Okay, is that a good enough representation of the guy who used to scream, leave Brittany alone? It has come to my attention that there are some people that have been harassing the hell out of Catherine Paulson's attorney. One Mr. Graham, I'm putting his name down and I totally forgot it. Graham something or other. That shows you how much attention. I knew something was wrong earlier in the week, even though I am all goofy on my asthma and my mast cell, because I tried to call 2 or 3 times to discuss with him something, and I couldn't get through. I was getting the fast busy signal and stuff. I thought maybe it was just the circuits from here in Costa Rica. But Peg, Aaron, he might know now. And the thing is, what the people are doing to harass him, they could actually be charged. They could be charged criminally. I am never in favor of harassing anybody, not KJ, not anybody connected with her. No. I always say don't harass anybody. Don't flex on them. I'm a big believer that karma takes care of everybody eventually. That's one thing I've learned in my lifetime. Karma works. Karma is a bitch. Is that what they say? So people have apparently been calling and spamming him. He had to take his website down where he had those packages, the Lionel Hutz package and a Harvey Birdman, I think it was. And while I laugh at those names and I think they're hysterical, it's pretty crazy that people are taking this real life like this. He didn't know what he was in for. We all knew that. As soon as I got the response from him, I knew he didn't know what he was in for. What are you doing here? Just appeared behind me. So he had no idea. And it's really not right. He's not involved in this. He didn't do any of this stuff that KJ's done. He's just not involved. He's just another, I'm not going to say innocent bystander, because he did apparently rubber stamp that email that a lot of us got. I tried to get a hold of him several times this week because I wanted to tell him what my response was. My response is, as it was, no. As it was the other night when I first emailed him, I keep my correspondence. I have no problem providing him with my correspondence between Steve McGray and myself. He's going to find it largely uninteresting. Reams talking about Natalie, Mr. Salty, and others that don't have a whole lot to do directly with KJ, except for in the fact that they're in her orbit. And just stupid stuff. Like the other night, I was bitching to him about my, he should have researched her, absolutely. Was bitching about my health. I've been in that bed for 3 or 4 afternoons now. Every afternoon, my oxygen levels tank. My blood pressure goes up to crazy, scary heights. And they're monkeying around with my blood pressure meds and everything else as a result. And it ain't going well. Always keep them in archives. Peg, I do that most of the time. And there's nothing that pertains to this case in my correspondence with Steve. I've known Steve quite a while now. We only talk on Twitter. That's the only thing that's available. That's the only way I talk to him is on Twitter. And it's largely going to be uninteresting to the case. So I wanted to tell Graham that I would be more than happy to provide him with the archive of Steve and I talking. The email mentioned providing him with an archive of correspondence between KJ and I, which I cannot do any more than Emily D. Baker can do, but not because I've never had correspondence with KJ, but because I used to talk to her all the time on Facebook Messenger. When I did a few screen caps to prove that she'd stood me up and that we talked about me coming on, She immediately went in there and she erased the entire archive. As far as I know, it's unobtainable unless he were to subpoena Facebook and ask them to go back. I don't even know if they can pull it up. So, Graham, I have nothing for you with KJ. I have a lot of largely uninteresting stuff with Steve. You want my notes and any possible screenplay books I may write on? You're not entitled to that, so you're not getting that. That stays on my computer, which right now is having hard drive problems. It's in the shop, so you're not going to get it anyway. Likely all of that is lost. So because I could not call him up and say all these things to him, I am saying them now here while I'm saying, I'm sorry, my desk. Well, I'm saying, please don't harass him. He didn't know what he was getting into. He clearly did not research who KJ was. I don't know that they actually even had many conversations past the forms, her buying the forms and saying, hey, I need you to represent me. Here's $2,000 on top of that as a retainer. I don't think that he anticipated what he got. Now, like I said, I was rather disturbed because I didn't get a hold of him, and obviously he'd been slammed by people, and he's taken down his forms, which is a shame. He should be allowed free commerce of whatever it is he's selling, those forms and all of that. Now, I wish he wasn't so snarky and nasty to me. He wanted me to stop talking about KJ. That is going to happen, and that's what I said the morning before I even got this. I was sick to death of her, and I'm still sick to death with her. I'm more sick to death right now than I have ever been of even thinking about her. I'm evicting her from my life in every single way, except for as a role model for a novel I'm crafting. That is the only way. So there's some of that going on. Anything else? I'm not going to stop talking to Steve. I'm not going to stop talking about her if the mood hits me. As of right now, I never want to talk about her, think about her, see anything about her again. Don't rile lawyers, you guys. Don't mess with her lawyer any more than you would mess with Emily D. Baker. I wouldn't do it. You don't understand. Lawyers know how the legal ins and outs, and if you're harassing him and he can prove that you're harassing him, he might be able to actually legally do something to you. So I would not recommend doing that, number one. Number two, it's kind of tacky to harass all these people that are connected to KJ. I've always said that. Don't go real life. Now, I was criticized by KJ did nothing this time. Miss June, it's everybody is harassing her lawyer to the part where some of us who receive those emails can't even get a hold of him to tell him what our response is going to be. So my response is, I'm saving all that for you, but you're going to have to legally send me the paperwork through my country here, Costa Rica, and have me served to get them. I'll turn them over then. The other stuff you asked for, no, I'm not turning any of that over. You're out of luck. You cannot make me turn notes over that I may have taken about any of the cases at all. And they have nothing to do with the issues between Katie Joy and Steve McRae. They have nothing to do with the issues between Todd Chrisley and Steve McRae either. I would never contract her lawyer. So odd. People are really messing with him that he had to pull out his packages? Yes. Or were people just making fun of his packages? Kiki, my understanding is this afternoon, I heard that people were harassing him, openly harassing him. And I will say I tried to call 3 times and I just kept getting the fast busy signal with the phone number that was listed on the documents I got. So I just finally gave up. I didn't even try emailing him back. Like I said, I'll hand over my Steve correspondence. His client deleted our correspondence, so he's out of luck there. And everything else is off the table. I am not turning over any notes or anything remotely like that because it doesn't have a damn thing to do with the case. You're going to have to legally prove it does for me to make me give that stuff over. It doesn't mention your client or Steve. It's just general notes for writing a novel involving certain situations. And I have my own personal journal that I keep locked on my computer You're not entitled to that either. Why voluntarily provide your conversation with Steve? Catherine wants the behind-the-scenes DM gossip. I just wouldn't until I was required to. Out of control. That's what I'm saying. He is going to have to work through the court system here, where I am living in Costa Rica, and subpoena them through the Costa Rican courts. He's going to have to go hire an attorney here, go to the Costa Rican courts, and order me to turn them over. If he does that, then I'm perfectly willing to turn over my conversations with Steve. I will not delete anything. I'm not a dirty deleter. I'm not like his client. I'm not deleting jack shit. She deleted all of our conversations. He's also entitled to the conversation screencasts I have between her and I, the only ones that are left. They're up on my website. They're there for anybody. They're freely available. They're in sequential order on 3 different pages. Enjoy. She defamed Steve. In one of them, she claims that Steve tried to do the whole defame Steve. In one of them, she claims that Steve tried to do the whole SA thing, that he tried to hit on her or something of that nature. I'd have to go back and read what it said, but I've heard so many stories about what Steve supposedly me too to her that they none of them match. So you're welcome to that. You're welcome to the stuff that proves that your client was 18 months ago obsessed with Steve, and you can read where I said, Steve who? Because I wasn't even remotely sure who in the hell it was she was talking about, because she was constantly consumed with petty rivalries, complaining about this person or that person. From the moment I met her, she talked about having death threats and stalkers from her blog before she had Pathos, from her original mommy blog. She said, this is an allegation she's been making forever. Just like the allegation that Steve supposedly did something to her in her mind, I guess. And so there's that. So have great fun with all of that. I can't prevent you from getting the screen caps. They're there, and they will reveal to you the kind of client you have and how long she's been telling the tale that Steve did it. Steve did it. We've said that on Twitter now. Steve did it as our hashtag. Steve did it for everything. Rose, yes, I think her behaviors are escalating. I think that she is becoming wilder and wilder in her allegations and the things she's threatening and the various things. One of the criticisms I took that I've been meaning to answer was JJ said that I had gone real life by contacting Todd Chrisley. Yes, maybe I did. Hey, Kitty, come here, girl. Come here, girl. But here's the thing. I worked with KJ. I worked with her. I knew her from Pathos. We talked almost every single day. So it wasn't like I decided I was going to harass her like some people are harassing her lawyer or have harassed her. I knew her. I knew her. Hey, baby. I knew her, and she did what she did to me, and it turned out had been stealing my content for quite some time, had been plagiarizing a lot of things, I believe, and rewording them just enough so I could not charge her with plagiarizing. The story and recollection of events has never changed while Catherine continues to lie and manipulate. Yeah, exactly. She is becoming a caricature of herself. You were actually right, Laura. So I've never changed my story. My story is the same. I tried to help her. She knifed me in the back. So I would warn anybody who ever thought about working with her. She complained that she does not have any friends among YouTube creators because they're all a bunch of backstabbing, who knows what, that are using her for content. That's not true at all. When you stab people in the back and the word gets around, and the word always gets around on these sorts of things, it pretty much kills the desire of anybody to work with you in any way, shape, or form. People going after the law firm Yes, they are. They're going after, I don't know the law firm, but they're going after this particular lawyer. They're going hard to the point where he pulled down his website where he had his document sales. And I wasn't able to get through on the phone to say the things I just said, where I said, you could have my Steve McRae conversations. I have no problem giving to you, but you have to go do the right legal form. And please stop threatening me with you're going to get sanctions against me. I'm in another country. I'm not even on the same continent. I hardly think that the Minnesota court has any kind of jurisdiction over me here. Take this to my court jurisdiction if you wish to have the documents, and I'll be more than happy to provide them with you. There are no KJ documents because our correspondence because she deleted them. Please ask your client why she deleted our conversations. If you want them, yeah. She created her reputation, period. You are exactly right, out of control. She is escalating. I remember from the mommy blogger. Do you, Rose? I didn't know her. Yes, Preacher Boy did. He didn't realize once he did a little bit of research, he saw what all of us have seen. The problematic nature, the fact that she seems to have only the loosest of grasps on the truth. And to me, that is the most problematic thing. I don't care how awful the thing is you have to tell me. Just be honest with me. When you start lying to me, then I'm going to back away. I'm just one of those people, always have been. I like the truth, no matter if it's unpleasant. Even though here that is problematic because Ticos don't want to tell you anything not fun. They have my computer at the computer repair shop here. These guys are good. They're usually done within days. It's been 3 weeks. I think they're hating telling me something unpleasant like my hard drive is dead. I believe that's what's going on. That goes on here. That bothers me. I'm too sick to care right now. I will care eventually. She has a loose interpretation of reality, most definitely, Lisa. And I'm almost afraid for her with Todd Chrisley going after her because he's loaded for bear. He's mad about the things that she's alleged about his reputation. Rose, that is the most ridiculous part. There is no conspiracy. There is no cult involving Steve. Steve's a good guy. Now, do I watch Steve's content? Very seldom. He goes to places and talks about things that are just not part of my wheelhouse. They're not things that interest me at all. I've said before, I watch a lot of history channels. I watch a whole lot of history. I like to watch some medical things. I watch a few of the lawyers like Emily D. Baker and Legal. And if I can learn something, and like I said, I've got a new one that I've been watching a lot of, which is Faces of the Forgotten, but he just does graveyards. Oh, Rose, your son is autistic and I read everything. I can understand that. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Tiny Dancer. I'm not feeling so beautiful. As you notice, no jewelry. I'm wearing I ran away from the mental hospital outfit, I always call this, because it is huge. It's like a hospital gown. And feeling like crap, utter crap. I've been very sick with my asthma for the last 4 days. Low oxygen levels, super high blood pressure go hand in hand. And it's been super shitty. And yeah, you're right. I'm not obligated to give them a damn thing. If they want my correspondence with Steve, they can subpoena it from Steve. Steve has it too. Well, thank you. Thank you. Hurricane in Louisiana back in the 1800s that it wasn't even named, but it killed a bunch of people on last October. And I realized that one of the cemeteries that he covered extensively has a lot of the victims for that particular hurricane buried there, and he didn't cover it when he was down in Louisiana. So I'm going to shoot him an email about that because some interesting stories there that came out of the Lost Island hurricane. Or the last island hurricane. I think the other name for that was Isle Denier there in Louisiana. So I love that stuff. Wait, can we get that resurrection group to work on your computer? I'm not even sure. Oh, Bethel? Oh. Here's the thing. Every time I talk about Bethel, you know what happens? I get actual death threats. Steven Anderson and his new idea and Bethel are the two most problematic places to talk about. You start getting various threats. You start getting very nasty grams from everybody. I think the craziest one I ever got from them was their director of, what was it? A publicity contacted me, sent me like 3 or 4 emails, and I just ignored them because I had no intention on talking to their director of publicity because, like I said, I knew Bethel. The church I went to was linked up with Bethel. We had Bethel people at our church. We went to their conferences. I knew Bethel pretty hard inside and out from my time with my old church. So they were trying to tell me that my own understandings weren't real. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to you. No. So I didn't talk to them. Here's where it gets funny. They contacted my editor and said that I was uneducated about Bethel and they just wanted to correct all my mistakes. My editor sent it to me with a little note and said, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but do what you want. Talk to him, don't talk to him, whatever. So I'm not talking to him. I know what Bethel's about. I've sat in enough of their trainings. I got their damn books. I know what they're all about. I know how they teach. I know what they're believing for. They're believing for total resurrections. And they're settling for nothing less. And they're telling everybody that you could be healed. But if you don't get healed, then it becomes your fault somehow. And when it becomes your fault, they start telling you all kinds of nonsense. You've got unconfessed sin. Maybe there's a generational curse. There's all these excuses. Director of propaganda. That's exactly right. Rose, Bethel is a group out of Redding, California. Bethel Redding. Google them. They are crazy. They even have a death raising team. They had the 2 or 3-year-old child of their musical director died, and they held onto the body for a week, trying to resurrect her, praying for her to be resurrected. The poor little girl's name was Olive Heiligthal, I think was the last name. And there was a lot of, just really nasty defenses by that church when anyone talked about them. Sean Fouch, who I call the plague rat, he's one of their worship team people who's come through their church. He's the one going around holding these huge maskless things, scratching the very tip of my nose. It's driving me crazy. It's part of this whole thing. The maskless worship things where he gets hundreds of people to come together in places where masking is mandatory, and they're all squashed together, singing worship tunes. And the events are considered super spreader. They shut him down in some cities, but not everywhere. So that's who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Bethel. I'm talking about the plague-ratting, death-raising people that believe they can cure every illness unless something's wrong with you, like you have unconfessed sin or generational curses or any other. Bethel is in California, yes. Weird, not kidnapping case. I don't know. I've had to look at Sherry Papini. I don't know. I haven't kept up with them quite as much as I've kept up with a lot of people, but because I want to forget about that. And that's what was so disappointing, having to cancel my live today, where I wanted to talk about, this itchy tip. I've had a nose infection and it's starting to clear up finally, but it's making the outside of my nose itch like fire, and I'm out of Benadryl cream and I have had no Benadryl today. Because certain people, hey mermaid, certain people, Katie Joy, had talked about Ginger Volo. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her husband's name or not, because I don't really follow Doug as much anymore. had been baptized this past weekend there. It was a big, huge thing. And someone was claiming that they are Calvinists there at Grace Community Church. The church I went to, my Quiverful Church, was a member of a presbytery in Virginia that was the Grace Network, that were connected with the church that Ginger was baptized at. I know their theology in and out. Our pastor was always flying between Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., taking classes to get his PhD from the Master's Seminary, which is connected to Grace Community Church. Now, there are some Calvinistic leanings in that church, but to say that church is a Calvinist church is A, disingenuous and not true, B, it disrespects the whole idea of evangelical churches with their, I call them salad bar theology, because they take a little bit here and they take a little bit there, and they take a bit of this and a bit of that, and they mix it up. And it varies from church to church to church, exactly what that mix is. Like I said, we strayed into Bethel, into a vineyard church out of North Carolina that's had to change its name 2 or 3 times now because they keep getting sued about their deliverance ministry. People harmed by the deliverance ministry have sued, so they keep changing names and moving locations. Hey, mermaid. So that's what's so comical about the screams of Cult of Steve. I was part of a high demand religious group that qualifies as a cult under the BITE model. I'm just going to go ahead and throw all these words out here. I'm going to scream all the words that YouTube does not like me saying. COVID, I'm going to yell sexual abuse, all of that, because they're never going to let me monetize this, and I don't really care. I'm ranting now. I'm mad. I am mad because, like I said, as laughable as the emails I got from this lawyer of hers were, as laughable as it was finding out that he had this site where you could do your own legal thing and they named him after, he doesn't deserve to be harassed. Like I said, I'm kind of pissed off because I wanted to contact him this week and give him my response. And I guess now I'm just going to have to keep shouting it out here, and I'm going to have to write an email. Katie, I'm speaking directly to you right now. I don't wish you harm, not at all. Actually, if I could wave a magic wand and make you put down the internet and pay attention to your child, pay attention to your husband, be the loving, engaged mother and wife that I know you are capable of being, there would be nothing that would be better in this entire world. I would love to see that. You know, they're gossiping right now, various people, about her husband and possible wrongdoing. It's being talked about on a bunch of channels. Charlotte talked about it in a great detail the other day, and I'm not willing to give any of the details on that except to say that that old rumor is floating around again. It's floated around before. And if you can't say that you're joyfully unavailable and expect your husband to just sit there like a bump on a log and not take action. Eventually, a man is going to take action over something like that. If you continually deny and you continually ignore, I don't know what to tell you except that I would wish you health, happiness, and everything. I would wish you to go to Steve and to Todd and say, I'm sorry I said those things. Let's end this thing right now. Let's just shake on it, and I will not say anything further. That would be so awesome. And I wouldn't have any reason to ever say anything further about you. There would be nothing that would make me happier than never have to utter your name again in my entire life. Because like I said earlier, it's like needing to vomit. And when you vomit, it's so awful. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's going in my yarn fund. It's like vomiting. You feel horrible leading up to it. You feel horrible while you're doing it, but afterwards you're like, oh, the poison's gone. It's kind of how I feel about talking about you, Katie. And I would like to not talk about you. I would like to think that your kid's future is not in harm's way, not at stake, that your house might possibly not be lost in this lawsuit. I think about all the things that you could lose, and it just breaks my heart for you. Like I said, I only wish the best for you, even though I know I sometimes will rip and rap about you on Twitter. It's just BS. But after this thing with the lawyer, I'm going to be a whole lot more responsible about what I'm saying about you and how I'm saying it. Because apparently there are those people that think that if you're picking about various things, that gives them carte blanche to do crazy things. And I am not a fan of that, not a fan of that at all. I like to see everybody behave. I know that makes me an old lady, and I'm fine with that. I am an old lady. But to think about you, that baby of yours, and your husband living in a cardboard box under the freeway does not make me happy. Not at all. It's a pretty bad thought. I just would like to see all of y'all pursue what it is that makes you the happiest, that doesn't harm other people. And that's what this all boils down to. It boils down, are you harming others? I have to say that what you're saying and doing, you are harming other people. You may not think you are, but you are. You are. You're harming other people. I mean, you tried to harm Todd Chrisley's livelihood. How the Duggars have not sued you, I don't have a clue. Not a clue at all. The Duggars, I suspect when the thing is over with Josh, we're going to see a lawsuit from them too. And I would not want to go up against Jim Bob. He's not as nice as he pretends on the television, I don't think. Okay, you guys. I got to get off and get back in the bed. This thing with not having oxygen, it just really, really sucks hard. I'm hoping that I can talk tomorrow in depth about Grace Community Church. Felt it was uncomfortable because who's to say that people don't have an open marriage or something? Here's the thing. Thank you, Mermaid. Here's the thing. Everybody works out their marriages as best they can. If open marriage works for you, hey, go for it. So that's why I'm reluctant to even say anything about the rumor, which has been a rumor that's gone on several times now. Because if it works for them, fine. It's just my long history of living on this earth. There are some things that just never work out right. And I've only known, of all the people I've known who've done that through the years, I only know of one couple that managed to successfully navigate it without wrecking their marriage on the rocks of jealousy. It's not for me. Now, maybe it's for somebody else. Maybe it will work for them. Who am I to say? So that's why I don't really want to talk about the supposed rumor with him that everybody else is saying. Yeah, I'm going to go lay down. We boomers know better. You're right, Lisa. I saw so many people blow up their marriages doing that sort of thing. Yeah, you're right. You were exactly right, because it could mean different things to different people. We just don't know. We don't know what the circumstances are. We also don't know if it's just a dumb, vicious. When I had to go, was people were saying that her son did not have heart surgery. Well, yes, he did. I saw pictures of him that she was sending me through Messenger post-surgery. I talked to her endlessly in the lead up to that, and while he was having the surgery, and after. It happened. It's a real thing. The little boy was really that sick. For people to be trying to say that was some kind of power move by her to get attention was pretty awful. It just was. Okay, so I'm going to feel better. I get this once every couple of years maybe, where my oxygen levels tank in the afternoons especially, It goes on a week and a half. I lay up in the bed. I don't do much. I read a lot, and it passes. This had better pass because on the 15th, which is next Wednesday, I fly back to the States to visit my family. And we have such major drama going on right now in the middle of my family because of the fact of Hurricane Ida. There has been all kinds of things that have happened. I have had relatives that have lost pretty much everything they've owned. I've had some that have done well. The ones that have lost stuff aren't doing so well. And they're kind of scattered to the four winds, going to see my kids. They are also housing family members, so it's going to be a tight fit. I was just looking at hotel rooms before I came on here to do this, because I'm thinking about staying in a hotel. I love my family. I don't want to add to the burden for my daughter and son in their home. I just don't. Okay, you guys. Don't harass the lawyers, please. And I have to, right before I go, I've got to say, I was thrilled to watch Emily Baker talk about her letter the other day, because she confirmed everything that my Costa Rican lawyer said and that I had come to conclude. Yeah, I'm thinking a hotel room would be better for us because we're old. We like our peace and quiet. That house is cram-packed right now, and I don't want to add to their cooking and cleaning and the whole 9 yards. So I'm going to have to lean on the husband in there because he says, hotels in that area are going to cost $150 a night. I said, well, yeah, I'm sorry. It is what it is. Okay, you guys, be good. Have fun. Enjoy. And hotels do have pools. Oh, yes. And I'm going to be going swimming again. I love my swimming.